starting with the Thanksgiving Day games, and then later on my YouTube channel later in the week we will give you the Sunday games. So only today and doing the Thanksgiving Day games. We're going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. They are traveling to Detroit to play the Lions. No full injury reports are up. It is early in the week, so it's difficult to get them. So with this, we're just going to give you who did not participate in practice and who had limited practices. Everyone else who may be listed on the injury report would be a full participation in practice. So we're going to start with the visiting Eagles. Those who did not participate in practice are Zachary Ertz, the tight end, Jason Kelsey, the center, Ryan Matthews, the running back. Sam Bradford had a limited participation in practice, so we'll see if he's available to go. For the Lions, all limited or fulls. The limiteds were Don Carey, the safety, Calvin Johnson, the wide receiver, Karan Reed, the defensive tackle, Darius Slay, the cornerback, and Gabriel Wright, the defensive tackle. Now, looking at this, usually if you don't practice, you don't play. So I'm going to assume that those who are not practicing today for the Eagles, but then again, practice isn't over yet, so this is probably from yesterday, are not going to play. With this game, the Lions have been playing well of late. They've won 2 straight games. Certainly returning to more of the form they were last year when they were a playoff team, and a quality playoff team at that. With the Eagles, you have to wonder if Mark Sanchez is going to get the start. Is he likely to turn the ball over again? Or if Sam Bradford is going to go. Now, either way, I think turnovers are to be expected with either one of these two quarterbacks. Certainly a bit more when it comes to Mark Sanchez, though. Philadelphia really needs to get this game. They're at 4-6. They want to keep pace in that division, even though the Giants are only 5-5 and playing a division game against the Redskins this week. For Detroit, they can certainly play spoiler, even technically not out of it in the wild card because of teams like Atlanta. We've certainly kept teams around, and Atlanta only holds the top spot in the wild card. You certainly have Seattle at 5-5 and a bunch of other teams there at 5-5 as well. So not totally over for the Lions, but they got off to such a bad start you can't really expect them to go. Usually you like the home teams on Thanksgiving, especially the teams of Dallas and Detroit who play every Thanksgiving. With this one, though, I think it's too important to the Eagles. I think they need it too much, and I think off of 2 wins, you have to look at Detroit is coming back down to earth in this game. I'm expecting Mark Sanchez to go. Even with Sanchez going, I expect him to get the win. If Bradford goes, then it'll be a couple more points. I'm liking this game to be in the range of 31-17. I don't think Detroit's offense is going to have it. I think Matthew Stafford is going to be the one who's turning the ball over, and that's where we go from here. So that's 31-17 for the Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Next up, the Carolina Panthers traveling to Dallas to play the Cowboys. For the Panthers, those who did not participate in practice are Dwan Edwards and Amenazi Satolalu. Dwan Edwards is the defensive tackle. Satolalu is the guard. Limited participation in practice, Corey Brown, the wide receiver, Jeffrey Jensen, the long snapper, and Charles Tillman, the cornerback. For the Cowboys, those who did not participate in practice, Morris Claiborne, the cornerback, Ryan Russell, the defensive end. Limited participations, Des Bryant, the wide receiver. Bryant is usually been a limited participant, so expect him to go. Brandon Carr, the cornerback, Jeff Heath, the safety, Byron Jones, the cornerback, Darren McFadden, the running back, Tony Romo, but we're expecting Romo to go. He's obviously going to get a few, he's going to be very limited in practice, that is, coming off that injury, and Kyle Wilber, the linebacker. Now, Carolina is 10-0. They are certainly rolling. The Cowboys are 3-0 with Tony Romo, 0-7 without him. Cowboys are usually good on Thanksgiving. They did lose last year. Now, people are going to look at this and think it's just my Cowboys bias, and I would probably agree with you there. I think Carolina is due for a loss, just as we discussed with the Cowboys when I said they would lose to New Orleans, and they did. Carolina is going against the law of averages in this game, and that's why I think they're going to lose. And Dallas is generally good on Thanksgiving. They're going to do everything they can to get back into that division race. Whether it'll happen or not remains to be seen. Certainly, after losing to a team like Tampa Bay, you have to make up for it with this game right here. So, Cowboys will get the win. I'd like it to be a close game. I think they're going to turn over Cam Newton, which has been tough to do, especially with the Cowboys who are not turning over anyone. But Morris Claiborne's out. Well, it did not participate in practice, so I'm assuming he's out. Again, we have to see what will happen today because I Netflix reports from yesterday. But I don't think Claiborne O'Dell, he's never been one to bounce back from injuries relatively quick. So I'm expecting him to be out, but I think Byron Jones is going to play. That's a big question mark there. He was seriously hurt in the other game. And I think they're going to be able to shut down the Carolina defense. They're going to focus on running, and they're going to let their corners play one-on-one, and I think that'll allow them to get some interceptions here because you have to focus against Carolina's run. So Dallas Cowboys will win the game 27-24, keep their playoff hopes alive. And Carolina, they have to lose sometimes, so this will be the game. And then, of course, the night game is the Chicago Bears traveling to Green Bay to play the Packers. The Bears are off a loss, the Packers are off a win, ending their 3-game losing streak. For the Chicago Bears, those who did not participate in practice, Kadeem Carey, the running back, Antrel Rolle, the safety, William Royal, who I don't know if that's Eddie Royal or someone else, and just giving him his full name because we saw Samuel Bradford before. I believe that's Eddie Royal, unless there's a William Royal on the team. But I'm going to stick with it that that's Eddie Royal there. Limited participations in practice: Martellus Bennett, the tight end; Matt Forte, the running back; Alshon Jeffrey, the wide receiver; Joel Martin, the safety; Pernell McPhee, the linebacker; and Leroy Reynolds, another linebacker. For the Packers, Jared Aberdemus, the wide receiver; Corey Linsley, the center; Ty Montgomery, the wide receiver, all did not participate in practice. For the limited participations in practice, Devontae Adams, wide receiver; David Bacchiari, the tackle; Brian Balaga, tackle; Micah Hyde, safety; Thomas Lang, guard; William Matthews, the linebacker, who I'm assuming is Clay Matthews; Michael Pennell, the defensive end; Demarius Randall, the cornerback; and Josh Hitton, the guard. Chicago, we've discussed, they've played well since a slow start. Did play well against the Denver team last week, but lost. Jay Cutler has limited his turnovers. He picked it back up again last week, so I'm sure Bears fans are hoping he did not find that bad habit again. For the Packers, off the win against Minnesota, they are now flying high on top of that division. They've got to feel really confident. They just got back to business and did what they needed to do. And I think they're going to keep rolling, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Packers, after that 3-game losing streak, did not lose another game for the rest of the regular season. And being that I had them to win the Super Bowl in the preseason, I think the Packers may run the table the rest of the way. But that remains to be seen. We'll take it one game at a time, but certainly I'm expecting a nice win from them on Thanksgiving. I think the offense is going to get rolling, and Jay Cutler is going to turn the ball over. I do worry about Green Bay with their tackles, both possibly not being able to play, but I'm expecting both of them to go. And either way, Aaron Rodgers gets rid of the ball very quickly when he's on the field. So, Packers will win the game. I like it to be high scoring. I'm going to go with 37-21 in this game, and I think look for a lot of turnovers from Jay Cutler. Going with 3 turnover game, 2 interceptions, 1 fumble for Jay Cutler. All right, so there it is. Just